Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Selamat datang ke podcast Oh Ya Kau. Yeah guys, thank you so much everybody kerana sudi mendengar kami di podcast Oh Ya Ke. Thank you with all the questions. Aku really I'm amazed by the pandangan pendapat daripada Ustazah Unaisa from the previous episode. Sebab apa-apa yang aku fikir dia macam fikir lain, which is nice. Sebab once in a while aku dapat orang yang fikir something else daripada, because aku one thing about me actually I don't like yes man. Sebab benda ni macam aku cakap semua kau kata okay, janganlah kata okay, kata no once in a while. So it's very nice to have. So selamat datang sekali lagi Ustazah, apa khabar? Okay kita sambung lagi sikit Boleh? Boleh Sambung mikrofon, tarik sikit to you, kasih dia kotak. Yes sir, yeah correct. Okay, tadi previous episode kita dah cerjahkan a very detailed sikit lah actually about that topic. This one next me ni actually is a question that actually a lot of people dah tanya, tapi this one is specifically ada orang tanya lah personally lah tentang banyak orang tanya pasal single mother meeting, tapi I feel like actually benda tu general for everybody. Sebab soalan dia seperti ni, what can you offer what advice can you offer for single mothers on their hijrah journey to strengthen faith? What can we advise them?
Okay, first and foremost, to address the topic of hijrah to actually applies for every single one. It doesn't matter lah about your marital status, about your gender, about your circumstances, about whichever phases lah that you are in life. Yang penting niat kita baik lah untuk better ourselves. That's why we ever thought about the idea nak hijrah, nak better ourselves. So for this person to be asking this kind of question, maknanya there's a kesedaran lah in herself to move forward in life and to better herself. And also not just that, she's also like thinking about her kids, which is very very considerate lah in that sense. So for her to start off with hijrah is to actually ask herself first lah, what is her purpose or her intention of doing so. Because innamal a'malu binniyat, whatever that we do is based on our own intention. So if her intention is to strengthen her faith, is to get closer to Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, maybe is to better her prayers, to better her recitation in the Quran, to better understand the deen, and not only for Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala but for her self betterment and also for her kids self betterment as well, then I think she's really amazing lah to reach this point in life.
Right.
So maybe the question macam she asks, maybe she feels judged or maybe she feels criticized of her inability to jaga her anak-anak single-handedly. Maybe that's why she asked the question, or maybe that's where the emotion is coming from lah. So I just want to share with her lah a verse on how to remain persistent when you are being judged and criticized. So this is actually a verse from Surah Al-Ahzab, verse 127. It mentions here, "Wasbir wa ma sabruka illa billahi wa la tahzan alaihim wa la taku fi dhaikin mimma yamkurun," which means be patient. Okay, so wasbir wa ma sabruka, be patient, O Prophet, for your patience is only with Allah's help. Do not grieve over those who disbelieve, nor be distressed by their schemes. So for example, if dia nak better dia punya self, dia nak cuba nak tutup aurat, dia cuba nak pakai tudung, dia cuba nak betterkan dia punya clothing. Lepas tu not only that, she's also tengah bimbing and nurture anak-anak dia. Maybe the people around her are not supportive, maybe she's being judged, maybe she's been criticized, or maybe her friends even turn backs with her sebab dia nak change
Yep.
So I think it's very important also for her to remind herself with this ayat that even the Prophet himself faced such things when he was being put into trials and tribulations. But at the end of the day, Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala mentioned to the Prophet, be patient. Tapi I think it's also very important for us to understand what is the meaning of patient. You know, sometimes people rasa macam patient is sabar. It's just that person sitting there and macam accept dia punya faith. Itu bukan. Itu pasrah. Tapi sabar is actually you making an effort to better yourself and to get out from that situation. You are putting in effort, and then at the same time you also tie your camel. So this is also being reflected in the hadith before you tie your camel. Before you want to leave the camel. Okay, the context is before you want to leave the camel alone in the care of Allah, you have to tie your camels first.
Right.
This is actually in a hadith lah. So with sabar, we need to put in effort, and then we need to tawakkal to Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala and make dua consistently, so that Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala will always guide us, and that we can remain consistent and committed in our deeds. So even kalau dia nak start with just hijrah dengan pakai tudung ataupun dia punya clothing herself lah nak better, it's fine kalau dia rasa benda tu macam ni macam kecil lah, or maybe orang just cakap alah hijrah kau setakat pakai tudung je apa, tapi masih tak solat 5 waktu gitu. Tapi she can also remind herself with this hadith, you know, the best of deeds are those that are being done consistently, even though how small it is. So if something that is being done consistently, walaupun sekecil mana pun, tapi orang tu remain committed to it, that is the best of deeds.
Right.
And this is what the Prophet mentioned lah in his hadith authentically. So just remind herself, whatever that people say pasal diri dia ke apa, just tak payah nak pedulikan. Yang penting dia peduli Allah, diri dia dengan anak dia. Sebab hanya Allah je yang boleh tolong situasi dia at this point of time, especially if she's dealing a lot, macam managing her own emotions, kena ensure that she is mentally stable, emotionally stable, because she have to also think about her kids, and then she also kena kerja because to support her kids. And then after all of those phases lah yang dia went through divorce, because divorce kalau kita tengok on the trauma scale kan, it is actually the first, macam one of the first most traumatizing event in a person's life, and it can literally change a person 360 degrees.
Yes, it did.
So kalau example this person, okay, if you are able to remain stable mentally, emotionally and spiritually, you are doing good. You're doing good, seriously. Yeah.
Right. Wow. That's a very nice explanation atau advice to be given, sebab I think kita selalu dengar lah orang ada go through divorce ni semua, and then macam single mother. That's why macam single mother is always been pushing out there macam to get the voices heard, sebab actually I feel that macam people don't really know the trouble and then the pain that actually they went through, macam apart from yourself, and then you have to be strong for your kids macam, and then kids tak boleh tengok mak down apa, kids nak kena always macam tengok ibu tu macam Superman dorang tau, ada Superwoman dorang, they see that, and then because the father figure is not there, tapi ibu pun sendiri tengah going through their own thing to move forward, and then to macam nak hijrah, nak istiqamah ni semua. And then bila nak hijrah, nak istiqamah tu, kawan pula akan macam comment. I think this one actually personally to me, and this is what I experienced lah. Bila nak kata berhijrah atau istiqamah ni kan, I think it's harder on the girl side rather than guy side, because macam for me macam okay, mana-mana hijrah and everything kan, guys tu je tak comment macam I don't really lose friends. Macam yes, kita dah live our life macam 30 years and gini semua kan. Bila kita ada je kawan yang macam lose contact, macam kita kadang-kadang rapat dengan orang ni, lepas tu tak rapat, macam dia gitu, bukan really macam hilang kawan. But perempuan boleh stop being friends pasal kawan dia hijrah, sebab dah pasal tak boleh party together. Habis Dini dah macam, Dini sekejap berbual nak berbual pasal agama, macam dia dah rimas,
dia dah pakai tudung.
Yes, because I have macam heard of macam friends lah, macam that shared with me macam kawan dia cakap, engkau weekend je Islam lah, pasal di weekend dia akan pasal bukan apa, sebab sebab weekday dia tak tahu lah, wallahualam sebab maybe weekend she goes to classes, And then weekdays pasal dia tak pakai hijab, dia tak solat, tak tahu lah wallah tak solat ke tak. Tapi weekend dia akan pergi classes begini, which is dia punya yalah her efforts lah. Kita semua orang macam like you said lah, there is no effort that is small. Kan, there's no such thing as a small effort. Dalam hijrah tu, even kalau
It's
macam
a huge big deal.
kan, macam habis solat tu you want to baca extra something, extra zikir, it is an effort. Dia mesti ada plus, and then di mata Allah tu is besar benda tu, tak adalah kecil. So I think back to the question tu, this is a question that I actually want to ask you personally lah. Bila kita nak berhijrah, bukan kita, bila seorang wanita tu nak berhijrah kan, to you pakaian dulu atau solat dulu? Sebab ada, okay, this is your own pendapat sebab ada kawan I have yang pakai tudung tapi tak solat. Macam tak ada apa tau, tak solat, tapi dia nak hijrah. Maybe hijrah dia is pakaian dulu. Ada kawan yang macam dia solat ni semua, tapi pakaian dia masih yang menunjukkan aurat lah, the safest way to say it lah. So to you, macam which is which? Macam should we focus on first? Is it aurat? Because I have heard macam pandangan daripada different asatizah lah, yang I think this is UAI lah. Sebab bila kita menunjukkan aurat tu bukan sahaja dosa sendiri, tapi dosa dengan orang lain. Sebab macam sebagai lelaki, kita nampak menimbulkan syahwat, akan nampak rambut ke apa, menimbulkan syahwat badan ke apa kan, kita datang dosa, dia pun datang dosa. Kalau nak katakan kalau dia dah berhijab tapi tak solat, your dosa is yourself aja. Sebab you tak buat ibadah, you tak solat kan. So itu yang obligation lah, your 5 waktu tu you tak bikin. So for you, macam kalau kita sebagai wanita nak berhijrah tu, kita rasa kita dah dapat hidayah, macam kita nak dekatkan diri dengan Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, which one should be the focus first?
Okay, so this is just my opinion. Again, different asatizahs might have different views. So you are free to ask other asatizahs as well lah. Okay, my opinion is that every deed stands on its own. So kalau nak cakap pasal masalah aura, it stands on its own. Kalau nak cakap pasal masalah solat, it stands on its own. So it depends. Orang tu punya intention to start wearing that tudung atau to start solat is because of Allah ke tak. So if dia rasa yang mana yang dia boleh start dulu, to do it for the sake of Allah, to do it for the sake of betterment, and dia sendiri dah rasa yang dia dah ready, go for it. It doesn't matter macam yang mana satu dulu.
Right.
As long as you know you do it for the sake of Allah and you are confident that this thing will make you a better Muslimah, go for it.
Right.
Yeah. And it is also very important for you to find people that are supportive of your journey lah, and to also be understanding of your journey. So it's important for you to also find the people yang will love you where you are at. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether you fall back to tak pakai tudung atau you pakai tudung balik, you on and off ke apa, it doesn't matter, because you know your support system is strong, and no matter what happens, these people are there for you and will love you where you are at and will pray for the best of you.
Right.
So I think that is very, very important to have a good bond of sisterhood, a very strong
sisterhood.
one.
This one I heard about Habib Khazim as well, that one of the ways of nak istiqamah tu kan, is to keep your companions close. The ones that sahabat lah, yang akan guide you closer to Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, rather than macam kalau yang rasa yang kurang baik tu bukannya potong, because kita also akan mendoakan orang untuk mendapatkan hidayah. Sebab hidayah tu, this is one thing I think I always try to re-emphasize, hidayah tu diberikan kepada semua orang, hidayah tu boleh diberi, hidayah tu boleh ditarik balik anytime. So kadang-kadang kita pun tak boleh rasa macam kita macam, like for me lah, this is a reminder like, for myself as well, macam tak semestinya I solat 5 waktu, I zikir, I do baca Quran, whatever it is kan, I have to push people away. Sebab kalau kita rasa diri itu dah satu riak. Number one, I think riak is the most scariest one. Sebab now I learn from Ustaz Khai bab tasawuf, which is very deep lah kan. But tapi my first point is always takhali lah, untuk bersihkan hati tu, which is the most hardest thing. Bila kita nak buat sesuatu tu, kita tanya balik, aku buat untuk apa? Aku post again, like I do this macam every day I post dekat Insta story when I baca Quran, to remind people dah baca satu ayat. And Alhamdulillah, there are a lot of people out there macam say thank you for the reminder, sebab diorang dah start baca. Tapi kadang-kadang kan hati ni tak post. There are certain days I skip kan, sebab dah macam aku post ni aku nak menunjuk ke apa? And dia tak post tau. Sebab takut. Sebab aku baru je habis baca Quran. Ada je jadi tak valid. Sebab nak baca untuk menunjuk. So that's the scary part lah over there. I want to ask you this one. Macam, okay, because I feel like bila orang yang tak biasa pakai tudung, nak pakai tudung, there's this macam fear of orang akan judge atau orang macam, how to say because okay, the current context of the world kan, pakai tudung tu, there are certain parts orang macam Masya Allah macam manis dia nak pakai tudung kan. There are certain part macam takut, tengok dia macam macam akan secluded because dia muslimah, licik dia ni muslimah. So how sebagai seorang yang baru nak pakai hijab tu kan, what do you think macam we can actually advise them, macam you can tell them macam hey, what can you say to them?
Okay, so the first thing is to know your purpose and your intention, why you are doing it. Is it for Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala's sake or not? The second thing is to remind yourself, you pakai tudung pun salah, you buka tudung pun salah, you kurus pun salah, you gemuk pun salah, you duduk pun salah, you berdiri pun salah. So kalau memang ini reality manusia lah, whatever that you do, if people nak find fault in you, then they will. So let them be lah. Apa-apa yang diorang nak cakap pasal you, at the end of the day, you dapat pahala. Sebab you tahu why you are doing that for, which is for Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. So kalau orang nak judge you ke or anything, then up to them lah. And just tell yourself and let yourself know that you forgive them at the end of the day.
Masya Allah.
Orang tu salah faham ke apa, I don't know.
Betul. That is a nice way to put it. Sebab kita honestly lah actually, tapi it's harder than it's not as easy as it seems lah. Kita nak katakan orang macam tak apalah, biar orang nanti dosa orang nanti kita jawab bla 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 kan. Tapi on the receiving end tu berat actually kan. So that's where tawakkul kepada Allah tu is one, sabar tu is one. This is one thing that I my own practice every day. Minta kepada Allah tu, ya Allah, give me strength to go through any problem yang aku akan go through. I'll never ask Allah to give me macam solutions. I don't need the solution. I know you will guide me through. Cuma kasih aku strength and sabar that aku will go through this. In the sense. Okay. This is the bigger part where banyak orang akan tanya benda ni. This is about depression and anxiety. Is this your specialty sikit? Macam depression and anxiety, bukan? Do you face that a lot? Macam people who went through depression atau anxiety? Have you? Are you? Am I?
Are we?
Maybe. Okay, so ini kita share lah. Maybe this is also a good sharing for me as well. Macam orang yang going through depression and anxiety usually mainly daripada marriage problems. Okay, so this is kita go back lah, sebab ni is wanita lah. But I feel like this is the general thing. Bila orang go through the depression kan, what should they do? Macam because banyak orang kalau kita cakap pasal depression ni kan, kita advise orang untuk solat, memang orang akan, telinga dia akan panas. Really, macam this is what I went through as well. Macam I was going through depression and people cakap engkau nak kena solat ni. Macam to me macam it's irritation to the ear tau. Sebab macam aku tahu but I think it goes back to the same thing apa you said in the previous episode lah. Macam kita tak address issue tu. So sebagai wanita ke atau sebagai lelaki out there yang going through depression anxiety, what is your say atau what's your take? Macam dalam agama ni ada tak depression? Sebab I don't know whether dalam Quran ada tak cakap pasal depression. I don't think so kan. Ada ke? I mean Rasulullah went through hardship, correct kan? That's where macam surah Duha turun ni semua kan, macam that was hardship lah. So maybe we can advise maybe certain ibadah ke, certain zikr. I don't know. What's your take?
Okay, my take on this kan, dia ada dua type. Okay, the first one is you feel you ada depression or you ada anxiety. The second one is you self-diagnose yourself by googling about it. So I think it's very important for you to get a proper diagnosis, whether you really have depression
whether
or
it's just in your mind or not
or whether you are just overthinking things that is actually not there, tapi because you consume it, you think you ada depression, you ada anxiety, lama-lama you ada depression, you ada anxiety. Okay, so I think it's very important for you to put a stop on that thought and to diagnose lah, to get a proper diagnosis whether you have depression or anxiety. And then if you memang dah diagnose, okay, ada depression or anxiety, you can reach out to any counsellors or therapists that can work through the issues with you lah. So again, for healing kan is different for every single person. Some people might find macam baca Quran is healing. Some people might find like solat is healing. Some people might find like doing hobbies or doing the things that they used to do bila diorang stop is healing. Some people might even find macam
dragon boating healing. Sorry. Relax, sabar.
macam
Okay.
macam like finding themselves or maybe journaling and so on is healing. So it depends on each and every person lah. Tapi at the end of the day, you want yourself to be better. You want yourself to be spiritually, mentally and emotionally better, not just for yourself but for everyone as well. So I would like to share with you about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam lah. So basically Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had faced Amul Huzn. I'm not sure if you heard about it before. Okay, so basically it's a 1 year of sadness. Okay, Amul Huzn. Basically, after the death of his uncle, the death of his wife. Okay, so imagine the pain that he had to go through during this 1 year period of sadness. And this 1 year period of sadness is prolonged, you know. So it's not just one day habis, it's actually a year. So if we were to look at DSM-5, right, about depression and anxiety, if the sadness
DSM-5 tu apa?
DSM-5 is where therapists and counsellors use that book to give a proper diagnosis to a counsellee, whether this person has a depression, anxiety or other related mental illnesses.
Understand.
Okay. Yeah. So again, back to the question. Yes. So basically, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went through a 1 year of sadness lah. So it's not just one day; it prolongs up to 1 year, and to the point, ada times yang Rasulullah sendiri dia kira dia punya dakwah was disrupted because dia just really sedih. And then ada times yang dia pun kadang-kadang tak makan because dia just really sedih. So if we were to look back about depression, anxiety, even Rasulullah SAW faced that, you know. And on top of that also, with the way Rasulullah handles his emotion, I think it's also beautiful, which is reflected in another hadith that Rasulullah SAW faced basically dia punya son lah, Ibrahim, passed away. So at that point of time, he actually acknowledged his emotion. He even mentioned that he is sad. He even cried in front of his companions at that point of time. And then he even continuously mentioned like, I am sad, I am grieving of the loss of Ibrahim. So this just shows how Rasulullah SAW validate dia punya own feeling, acknowledge dia punya own feeling, and is just not shy to cry about it lah. So if you really need to cry, you cry. Do not suppress your emotion, because if you suppress your emotion, it will turn out ugly.
Yep.
Okay, so basically counselling dengan therapy pun is the same, which is to actually unravel the emotion and to really untangle back the emotion and to make it and kirakan macam a nicely placed one lah, so that you yourself boleh handle your emotions better. You are self-aware and you know where to go about from that phase.
Right. I think when it talks about when we talk about depression ni, correct, macam addressing the issue itself, you address and you acknowledge that the problem, what is the problem. Sebab I think there's a lot of people that went through depression and they run away from the problem itself, macam because they don't want to acknowledge it, they don't want to, they just keep macam tanam lah, macam they keep sweeping it under the carpet. Sebab macam taklah aku okay. And then benda tu build up and then they blow up. That's where macam anxiety, macam to what I understand, this is the doctors told me lah back then lah, that anxiety ni bukan pasal kau weak tau. Anxiety ni pasal engkau have been strong too long, and then your mind is like a rubber band, and then it snaps. Lepas tu dia snap, pop. That's where all these things will come. Depression, anxiety semua come. Usually they come hand in hand lah. But anxiety itself is it's the next level lah, honestly. Macam honestly kan, I don't mind being depressive. Macam depression kan is masih okay lagi tau. Anxiety tu yang macam leceh, sebab it attacks you at any time. You have to know the trigger points. What is your trigger point? You have to acknowledge macam okay, there are certain topics that kau tak boleh berbual. Aku sorry, but aku tak boleh berbual. Macam there are certain situations aku tak boleh go through. Macam my anxiety attack is usually loss of someone. Either macam through breakups atau macam through death. where it will attack me, and then I will have all these attacks lah. So my own personal experience is I like bila go through anxiety kan, I like to dengar ruqyah. So on Spotify I macam plug in and just baring and just dengar je and tenangkan. I think zikrullah also helps. A lot of therapy, this is under Islamic lah. A lot of therapy, Islamic pun of course, Quran itself is shifa for us, right? So ada dia punya benefits that you can actually look up for. But a lot of people usually bila part depression and anxiety bawa agama susah sikit lah. Kan usually kan it's entah asal macam but actually betul, because now back then I didn't want to use that, but now macam I use it. Macam I still the thing is about depression and anxiety, and this is me, I don't know whether from your studies whether this is true or not, but to me depression and anxiety dia tak boleh heal 100%. This is me lah, because, or is it just because I'm still going through macam gulik-gulik, but anxiety itself cannot 100% go away. You will know how to manage it, you will learn how to manage it, but it will not entirely zero. Macam you will not face anxiety. So but what do you think? Do you think anxiety and depression macam dia is a curable thing, atau macam is whatever I said is true?
I think for this thing, right, because it involves healing, healing is different lah for every single person. So sometimes it might be a lifetime, and some people might be okay within a day. So it depends on that person lah. But that doesn't mean that that person ada something wrong kalau dia tak boleh solve. It's just that maybe the pressure macam was too long. Macam this person is suppressing a lot of pain for too long. So that's why they need more time lah.
Okay, for you personally, like when you are, I wouldn't say depressed lah, when you are stressed, what do you do? For you personally, you like to journal, is it? Tadi because you said journal twice. Do you journal? Macam
I do journaling lah.
How does that work? Okay, I've never met someone who journals their way out of stress. Macam how do you find comfort in journaling actually? Nak faham sikit. Okay,
so for me, what I did is whatever that I'm feeling, I'm just gonna journal it.
So you just write macam rant lah.
Tak semestinya write a proper wording tau. It depends macam how do you want to like keluarkan that emotions from you.
Right.
So I think what the beauty of journaling kan is that in a few years time later, in a week time later, you can actually read back and then tengok how you actually process your emotions. So macam for example Nari Tuesday, besok Wednesday, Thursday, what is the difference? And then like what is the trigger point? Am I getting better? Where am I at? So you can actually kirakan self-assess yourself lah, and to understand yourself better and the situations around you better.
Right. Because like for me, like I don't write. Malas lelaki
but
kan.
But it's different lah. It's different kan? For everyone.
It's just I think it's a coping mechanism lah kan. Is it for you? Macam for me, I like to mengemuk sendiri. Macam naik motor, I will rant to myself like, as if I'm talking to someone. And then nanti aku dah membebel kan, nanti I will tenang. I always do that. I don't know, macam it works for me lah. But I think everybody has their own ways. But every therapist will tell me to do journal. But I think it's not one road.
Because it's words. Because from that words kan, you can actually pick up what is inside your mind.
Right.
What is the frequent word yang you selalu pakai when you are in that state?
Right.
Yeah. So what is the word yang you selalu resonate with when you are facing such emotions?
Right.
That's why journaling is good lah for you to understand yourself and what are the words or sentences that you're feeding yourself.
Right. So generally macam you write down how you feel lah. Macam you're talking to someone tapi you writing. Is it? You're like writing a letter to someone like that lah. Bukan?
Tak lah, it's just for me macam it's just macam what I feel gini-gini on that day.
Macam tengah ranting to someone lah. Technically lah, macam you sharing your thoughts and feels. Macam dia ni betul lah, Jufri hari ni memang aku jumpa dia memang irritating. Dia tanya aku gini-gini macam gitu lah. Something like that lah kan. Example. Betul lah, betul, Masya Allah.
I never mention you are irritating.
Right. I'm just saying lah macam I'm not lah.
You label yourself that.
It's okay. Sometimes lagi bagus label diri sendiri lagi senang lah kan. But thank you so much, Ro. It's a nice sharing from you. there's a lot of things that I pick up as well. Sebab like I said lah, benda ni I like to hear when there's another viewpoint or another angle that I've never heard from before. And macam at first you were worried macam this kind of pandangan, that pandangan. But honestly, it's fine. Okay, I think this is I'm just laying it out for everybody out there. Different asatizah ada different pandangan because they're humans as well. There are certain things yang macam okay, to you this is this, but to me this is this, and it's perfectly fine sebab kita are all brought up differently. Kita brought up with different way of thinking and everything. So what works for you lah. Okay, apa yang you share tadi tu, if it works for you, if it doesn't work for you, okay, then you cari pandangan lain, and it's totally fine. It's okay. To me, either ways it's okay. Because kita dekat sini ni macam like you came down here to share ni is untuk ke arah kebaikan. And then macam all these questions that I pose to you is macam to help people lah. Kita bukan nak menjatuhkan orang ke apa kan. So it's fine. But thank you so much. Alhamdulillah, thank you for coming over. Kalau korang nak kita panggil lagi Ustazah, kalau Ustazah masih nak layan aku kat sini, InsyaAllah boleh saja sebab dia kata dia tengah dekat. Thank you so much everybody kerana sudi. Thank you so much. You wanna nak shout out Instagram ke, whatever you doing ke, I don't know. Macam you wanna share something that you do or you want to shout out. I don't know what you privatize your life, right? But you do macam I see last week you got this class yang dengan a lot of Muslimah. What is that? Ada semalam ke tu dia segu yang ada macam a few Muslimah yang macam was like a classroom setting, lecture hall setting. What was that?
That was with Ngee Poly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Ngee Poly called you down, is it?
Yes.
To do a talk. Islamic. Oh, wow, that's cool. Wah, dia macam because it's not Islamic school, Ngee Poly is not Islamic,
but
tapi
it's a Muslim society lah. It's
they have their own
student society.
Right. That's nice. So you do for youth as well lah. Tu youth lah kira kan. Are we youth? We are still youth lah anyway. Okay, Ken, thank you so much. Okay, Instagram tak nak share?
It's okay.
Okay, alright. Sorry guys, korang akan tak boleh dengar, tak boleh cari mana Ustazah Naisa, tak lah. Nanti aku akan tag dan nanti kau cari lah apa pandai. Okay, thank you so much everybody kerana sudi mendengar kami. Jangan lupa komen once again kalau ada any persoalan yang korang nak kita terjahkan atau any question, kalau any doubts ke apa-apalah, good or bad, kita boleh ambil. InsyaAllah kita akan terjah, kita belajar sama-sama insyaAllah. Okay, thank you so much Ustazah once again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.